Hi everyone, welcome to the special episode of Maharani Talks, and I'm your host Mahati Rangarajan. It's been a year since work from home became a norm across all companies. A recent survey by Microsoft revealed that 40% of global workers are considering leaving their employers this year based on how leaders manage this new challenge. The pandemic has completely overhauled our idea of work culture. In this episode, I discuss with Anitha M Lakshmi, a human resources advisor, what are employees looking for as the pandemic shows no abatement? What is the work culture going to look like? Will women get back their jobs? And more. As founder and director of Artifacts HR, Anitha has over 15 years of experience advising startups and growing companies in building a diverse team with clients in verticals such as tech, fashion, retail, healthcare, and others. So, let's find out. So, for the sake of our listeners, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So, yeah, born in Chennai. That's what I tell people typically when they ask me, where are you from and all of that. Born in Chennai, I did my education in Padma Sheshadri, after which I went on to do my engineering. Then did my master's in business operations, specializing in HR. After which I started my corporate journey in Ramco Systems. Started off with product side of HR.
Okay.
Then went into the core operation side of HR. And then finally, I worked in the Big Four space consulting with corporates. That's where my consulting gig pretty much came up, which was in 2011-12. After which I decided to start off on my own.
Okay.
So I was independently consulting from 2012 till about 2018, which is when I decided to grow my consulting practice and decided to hire people and started my private limited company with two directors. And it's been a good ride, I would say, so far, from corporate to independent consulting to becoming an entrepreneur. So that's the journey, and have about 15 years of experience in the HR consulting space. So what we offer is for better understanding and easier understanding, I would say hire to retire solutions is what we offer to any company.
Okay.
And we help people solve their problems related to people. So that's what we say in simple words.
So, what verticals do you focus on, and what sectors do you like to focus on?
So we are not specifically into, we don't have any specific vertical or industry as such at the moment, because when I started, it started with retail, which was my industry's focus. Because retail and fashion apparel was a very small industry, and I started with a few entrepreneur companies where they want to turn around to becoming a quasi-corporate organization structure. That's when I started consulting in retail.
Okay.
Slowly and steadily moved into the startup industry, because Chennai became a SaaS hub. Pretty much, I think the development center was Chennai, becoming Chennai at least. We can proudly say that today. And we were transforming into digital. It was becoming digital, everything. And that's the time I started working with digital transformation companies. That's my entry into the digital industry. And
But now you're across sectors.
now, pretty much across, I would say I have my concentration is in retail, digital app development, and medical and artificial intelligence development companies. So that's the spread at the moment. That's the spread, yeah.
So, obviously, this past year with the COVID, right, and the pandemic, hiring has taken a huge hit, because a lot of industries have faced loss. And you being in this field, what are the hiring trends or the HR trends that you saw that changed over the last year that you think is going to play out in the coming year?
The huge win for HR is that actually the HR focus became very significant, which wasn't the case before. HR had truly become business partners. So people who had to, because handling people became the biggest challenge in industry.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter which industry you're in. Every company, it was about handling people, their fears, and it was a world which was uncertain. Nobody, even if people had their jobs secured, the fear was so much so, because there was media playing outside communication, inside communication, so much happening in the mind frame of people per se, and home front. So a lot of things contributing to a person's mind. So HR had to double up, triple up. They have to
Yeah.
pull up their socks no matter what. The HR, they are also employees end of the day. They're also people end of the day. But HR had to become business partners in most companies. So HR became a lot more focused. Requirement to become a lot more mindful of their emotional intelligence level. In
Yeah.
fact, mindful of people's emotions became the most important quality of a HR person, which came into play. I mean, it was getting exhibited during those times.
Okay.
So therefore, now you hear a lot of people talk about mental health
Yeah.
and all of that.
So there must be now more focus on that, right?
Lot of focus because people were constantly wanting to understand what's happening. HR always becomes an interface between the management and the employees.
Right.
So there is information passed on to them and there is information passed on from bottom. So they have to understand what's going on, what do I communicate, what should I not communicate, how do I balance this. And considering COVID pandemic, a lot of people were thinking how to work. The whole work from home concept, work from
Yeah.
office had to move to work from home. Infrastructure requirement, resource requirement. So HR has played such a big role. And going forward, I think HR will continue to become a very big contributor to the business. They are going to be one of the biggest support function, and HR today is a skill set which is widely wanted. But how many people are having those qualities? That's the question today. Because how many
Right.
people are not just going to be into mere day-to-day operations. So HR has a big role to play. Virtual HR became a very big thing because people thought HR is about interacting with people. So virtual engagements became a very big thing. I mean, your weekly meetings, then fun at work, employee engagement, training, hiring. Today, even interviews are happening on the video.
Yeah.
So how equipped are we to be able to assess candidates on video? That's still something that we're trying to break because
Okay.
today a lot of people also see a large difference between a video interview and a one-to-one interview.
Yeah.
And candidates also don't know how to actually talk. They become very conscious when it becomes a video. There is network.
Earlier, I think a video interview would be the preliminary one, and
Yeah.
then would be the face-to-face. But now that's become the main focus. Yeah.
Even students during COVID, I think, who were passing out had to go through the video interviews
Yeah.
and campus placements and morning to night. So I'm not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but right now I think that's the way to be. And so there are pros and cons, but HR has literally become virtual. So it worked very well for our company because virtual HR became the go-to. So a lot of people wanted to start outsourcing HR to consulting companies like us.
So, what do you think they're going to expect from the workforce? Are they more okay with, like from work from home, right? Earlier, it was seen as a poor cousin of productivity or something that they would think that, like mothers, if they wanted to work part time, and it was okay to work from home. But now it's not seen like that. So you think companies will be more all right with a blended workforce?
Coming from my experience, especially I think in March, pretty much this last month to this month, there has been huge transition from work from home to hybrid model to work from office. So now it's become very competitive because people who are working from home vis-a-vis people who are coming to office. Now, am I going to be rewarded more compared to somebody working from home? That's a big question to ask. That's when the contribution comes in play because leaders who are willing to come to office and manage their teams vis-a-vis teams being in office but the manager or the leader working from home. That's a big question which we are trying to still answer.
And will that be measured on productivity rather than how many hours you spend in the office?
Productivity is pretty much an outcome. It's an outcome of, it's a combination of number of hours come revenue. It's multiple factors which contribute productivity. While hours is just one component of productivity. But having said that, team management has become a very big criteria today because how do I manage my team effectively becomes a very big leadership trait. And that is something which is not displayed much in work from home situations. So I think it's largely coming from it's industry led, it's role led, it is person led, it's management led, client led. All these dictate the hybrid model. If if there is a role which it's non-negotiable, but to have someone at workplace, people are going in and hiring people at workplace. Now trainings are coming back to classroom trainings. So yes, to answer that question, at least for the next 6 months, I think it might be a hybrid model in the industries largely where people have to get back. ITES itself, the industries are getting back to workplace. You go out today, the traffic is like, I think, more than pre-COVID days. That's an indication of how many people have started coming back to work. But in consulting organizations like ours and much, much bigger organizations, people pretty much travel. Now, I think mostly travel is also not open as much as before. But yes, travel has opened. So next 6 months, there will be a hybrid model. But I think work from office will never be replaced. Right. Yeah, work from home is pretty much situation-led, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we are social animals. We like that interaction and being present around others. But what in the case of women, because so many women lost their jobs during the pandemic.
Yes.
Do you see at least most of them come back to that workforce?
I think women have multiple battles to fight. That's pretty much I think coming from the fact that women are very good in multitasking. They're more efficient in managing time and various things. Well, I don't want to get into the women-centric problems. But I think women are very much needed today at workplace. Yeah. Management, I think all over, I think globally, diversity and women to be becoming a part of the management and board is become a goal. It's become organizational goal.
Okay.
So management is given a target today to increase their women workforce at the management level, at the CXO levels. Having said that, it's very important to therefore move towards women-centric policies, one of which being work from home.
Right.
So women will definitely be wanted, are definitely required to efficiently manage businesses, and they bring balance to organizations. So whatever it is, women, whatever challenges they come with, a lot of organizations today are ready to, I think even pre-COVID, a lot of women-friendly policies were coming in place, now even more. Number two, I think that's the first part of my response. Second part is the COVID situation is not handled well at various homes yet, because you have aging parents, you have in-laws, you have parents, you have kids, and there could be people at home who are probably there with some pre-existing health conditions. So women can't just leave everything there and just walk out and come back to work. So in those kind of situations, there are organizations going out of the way to give them all the kind of support. We did come across a lot of companies which gave sabbaticals. Sabbatical is a very big policy which is there in most organizations for long-time tenured employees.
Okay.
So that policy got implemented across a lot of organizations. Women who have been on maternity leave, companies have given a lot of flexibility for extended maternity leave. And these kind of policies have been implemented in multiple organizations.
So they're more particular about, to bring back the women to the workforce.
They definitely want to retain good performers, and if they are women performers, they do want to retain women workforce. But we also see a lot of women who are hesitating to come back because of various limitations at home. I think children going to having online classes, colleges and schools not open, and handling children at home, logging into classes, all these also become challenges. So I think if it's a two-parent working home, I think a lot of times women have a tendency to take a back seat and probably contribute. A lot of women have also voluntarily come forward to take a cut in their pay because they want to continue to work from home. Organizations are very supportive when they are good performers. I think organizations want such women. They are happy to help. But yes, we want women. Everybody today, every organization today wants women to work with them. In fact, I'm a complete woman company.
Yeah.
And every time my client, it's very happy to know that they've all contributed. But we all have to work around limitations. I think COVID proved that change is the only constant.
You have to keep adapting.
We just have to keep adapting, and I think we just have to keep surviving.
That's true. From your earlier point you made about how how you manage your team or your employees is come into focus, right? It's become crucial. In fact, there was actually a survey last year that was done by Glassdoor, a job portal, that said the positive experience from the pandemic was when employees liked how the leaders conducted themselves. That is through an open communication and integrity, how honesty and transparency was. So, do you think those qualities have come into play even further?
Of course. I think as leaders, I think it's a very good question. I would say because it's also very relevant today because leadership has become so important because I think all along pre-COVID, every manager would call himself a leader. Becoming a manager is by virtue of putting in so many hours in a company, but even a fresher can prove himself to be a leader, right? So the leadership statement is basically lead by example. So that's something which was displayed largely during this COVID. And how do you adapt to change? Change itself comes from being emotionally intelligent and it comes from a growth mindset. We call it in psychology, organizational behavior, we call it the fixed mindset and the growth mindset.
Yeah.
Fixed mindset look at half empty and the growth mindset look at half full. So these two qualities became very evident during the pandemic, I would say. The half full mentality, at least I have this. Okay, fine, let's go forward with this. But obviously the half empty mindset is not going to work. And they were the people who were all the time about COVID. If I step out, what's going to happen? Can I do this? Can I not do it? So it's more of can't. So I think leaders pretty much I think they all had tough time, of course, but good leaders performed well within their limitations because they responded well, I would say.
Okay.
So leadership became the want, and today it's a big
So the good
want.
leaders stood out.
Of course,
Yeah.
of course.
And now, like you mentioned earlier, mental health has become more important. So it's important for the leader to, to be empathetic also.
That comes automatically if you're a good leader because
Yeah.
good leaders are born. It is there in your DNA, no matter what. If you've always seen when we were growing up from school to college, you will always see people who are taking who are initiating to get the attendance for the for the teams.
Yeah.
Always will nominate, I'll take care of this group. Always nominate to be the class pupil leader. Secretary. So these are people who want to, initiate. They like to take care of their teams. They like to protect their people. All of these are traits which have always been displayed at some point during their, growth. That's evolution. And leaders are always looking for challenges. In fact, good leaders, I think, would have taken COVID they would have been excited because, to our mundane life, if COVID is like, okay, fine, now what do I do? What next? They would have actually got excited to turn around.
Yeah.
This is my chance to actually prove my worth. It's something which is out there. So yes, they take time, they analyze. Leaders make decision which is a combination of emotion and rational, being emotional and rational. We can't let go of one. I mean, when people say be rational, no, you can't be completely rational. You have to have the combination of emotion and rational while making a decision. That's sitting on your mental health and empathy. Empathy comes into play there. Those who are completely rational, they're not good leaders. Completely emotional, definitely not good leaders, both ways. So it has to be a combination of both, and that is what made them good leaders during this COVID.
I agree.
Yeah. So they all stood out. So
that's good.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
definitely more, for companies to thrive, you definitely need better leaders to take it forward.
Of course. That's a non-negotiable. I think constantly clients tell me, I don't care if he's technically great, but I want him to have great attitude.
Okay.
So that's today very important. It's intellect versus intelligence today.
Him or her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the key today.
Yeah.
It's not about, academically 95%. I don't care. How is he going to run my company? Where does he want to be? So that's going to break everything for us today.
Okay. So you're an entrepreneur as well, and you have a startup, and you said you have 12 people. How have you pivoted during this past year? It must have been tough for you as well, right?
Yes, of course. I mean, I think I can speak for a lot of entrepreneurs, not just me. In fact, I'm much smaller compared to a lot of people, and I could rather relate more to what my clients were probably going on, because probably fraction of what they're going on was what I went through, but I could at least relate to them when they were constantly consulting me on how to turn around the current issue, optimizing resources,
Okay.
salaries, pay cuts. It was a very similar concern that obviously people like us had, because we also have teams to run and they have families to take care of,
Yeah.
and they're also dependent on the salaries that we pay. So I think it's pretty much that, and I think entrepreneurs, the again, our leadership had to come out. We had to. There's no point we practicing and not, where we preaching and not practicing. So when we are teaching people how to develop leadership qualities, I think that's something which constantly keeps resonating. And then we are like, okay, we have to be very, very mindful of the fact that, okay, we are advising somebody and we need to practice that ourselves. So there again, that's what differentiates the entrepreneurs today who have made it. What happened to me pretty much was like, I think I just said, okay, either I make it or I just break it. There is nothing there is only 0-1.
Yeah.
I don't think there was anything in between. So I decided to go for it. I said, let's see what comes our way. It's a good time to change. And I think as an entrepreneur, it's my, probably it was testing times for us to prove our worth. So let's go all out and see what's there for us. And by God's grace, I think the team was exceptionally supportive. I think the team, their loyalty, and I think I would actually give it to the team largely, where I drew my inspiration and motivation from. They were there by my side to say, no matter what, we don't want increments this year. It's okay. We understand. I know you're going to take care of us, and that's all I needed to hear. Right?
Yeah.
Whether or not I'm going to give, whether I want to give, whether I want to do more, it's just that those words which help you to actually do bigger things for the company, right? Because today the company is not a company without the employees, right?
Yeah.
So I think I largely owe it to them, and we've done a fabulous job so far by God's grace. And I think all our hard work that we have actually turned around. So that's what helped us grow during these tough times. So leadership again,
Yeah.
and I think being progressive in the mindset, and saying I can instead of I can't. So that's what helped, I would say.
That's good. So now
Yeah.
you can look back last year with from a
Tremendous
place of
amount.
strength. Yeah.
Tremendous amount of learning, I would
Yeah.
say. Yeah.
All right, Anitha. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank
It was
you
lovely
so
talking
much.
to you.
Lovely and very, very relevant questions, and thank you so much, Madhi.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening. If you found this episode useful, don't forget to follow us, Maharani Talks, on your favorite podcast platform. Take care.